What's up, boys? Okay, so last night we decided to watch Dreamin's 6.2 champ takedown on stream. A fight which he was wildly confident going into, much to our delight, the viewing public. But of course we had some fun with it on stream, and I was urged to upload it because A, I think it's one of the most legitimate strats for taking down Thing, or champ rather, and that's with Thing. And I don't think a lot of people know about it just yet. I think it's still pretty new because that fight's pretty new. And B, well, we were just having a good time, and I thought maybe people would enjoy it. So Brian suggested we upload. Dreamin did the same, so we did. Of course, I want to say Dreamin and Heisey are both alley mates and good buddies, so it's all in jest. But because of copyright stuff, I didn't do audio, so I just did kind of commentary over the top. I believe the original, the person, at least the one we had heard from to use Thing was Henoch. So big shout out to Henoch for that stuff. That's helped. I know it helped Dreamin a lot. I had to do it with Cap Infinity War, and compared to this Thing fight, well, you'll see. Thing makes it so easy. Now the link to Dreamin's stream that this is clipped from is in the description. Big thanks to him for the permission. And then for everyone that wants to skip the silliness and the whatever, they just want to see the fight, I'm going to put the timestamp of the successful attempt, which I think was his third. The first couple, he made a couple mistakes, which you talk about. I'll put that in the description, the timestamp to it, and also I'll pin it in a comment. All right, I hope you guys enjoy, and if so, I hope to see you on the nightly stream. Guys, by the way, if you guys aren't subbed to Dreamin, here is his channel. Go give that man a sub. 670? If we get him to 1K by, what's it called? By NYCC, that'd be awesome. Should I show from the beginning of the Thing fights? Because here's the thing. Basically, the whole time, like, Dreamin's like, I'm not worried about the last 10%. I'm not worried about I just want to set the scene. I'm not worried about the last 10%. I'm not worried about the last 10%. Last 10%? F that. Who cares about the last 10%? It's going to be easy. So I figured he was probably going to try to cheese with Thing. Let's go to Pewter. Because it might get auto flagged. I'm not going to do audio. So I'll just kind of tell you guys what he's saying and stuff. He's saying, all right, let me just read the abilities. So basically at this point he reads them and it like pretends to understand what's going on. And then Heisey is saying stuff that I'm fairly certain applies to other games, but not this game. That's most of what Heisey's saying. He's like, why don't you L2 that Hyperion? And he's on the like anti-nullify node. And he's like, well, that'll go really quick if you do that. And then Dreamin is like, no, I've got suicides, dude. I can't get that. And Heisey's like, oh, I didn't know that. And I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense because Morningstar's a pretty new champ. So that's what's happening right now. Basically, it's just one of those things where like it's kind of like you're in a flight sim and your co-pilot is giving you all the wrong directions, but you still have to land the plane. You have to focus like as hard as you can to still land the plane while he's like, okay, you're gonna want to go left here, and you're like, okay, so I'm gonna have to go right just to make sure. So that's kind of, so Dreamin's pretending to read the node here. So this is, I want to see a little bit like he's like, oh, it's just gonna be so easy. I'm not really worried about it. I'm gonna cheese it. It's gonna be fine. I'm not even. And then he's like, oh, well, I don't know. You can kind of hear like heavy breathing a little bit here. He's like, he keeps using his stupid special, which is, it's kind of a new feature in this game. When they have a special, they tend to use it. So here he's just kind of in his panic. He's still gotten 2 of the charges off, even though he doesn't know. Like you can see what's happening with the buttons is it's like one of these things, right? He's just like, I don't know. Is this like this side? And I think at this point he turned his phone over the other way. So I think he's on the back of it doing this, and it didn't seem to work. So that was the first strat. Is just trying to figure out like, do I use it on the case side of the phone or do I use it on the bright side? So that's attempt 1. Now you can see him, and Heisey's let's see, Heizi's offering advice that's unrelated. I'm pretty sure it's like Strike Force or Future Fighter or something. I don't know what Heizi was on. So he's like, oh, is this Act 5? And so, you know, just things like that to kind of keep stuff going. Okay, so now Dreamin's like, that was worse than any scenario I envisioned in my head, was what he was saying, which is, it's this nice kind of juxtaposition to what he was saying the entire time as he headed towards the thing. So it's just it's a hero's journey, right? You kind of get to, we get to go through it with him here. So this is him not knowing how to play it. So he's just like, which it's this one. It's this one. I'm pretty sure he's playing like this at this point. I'm fairly certain. He just let out an which was gratifying when you're watching it, because you're like, oh my gosh. It's one of those things when you're playing Thing, like there's one thing you can't do in order to win this fight. You can't block. So as you can see, that's 98% of what Dreamin's doing here, is just blocking and being like, what do I do? Do I keep blocking? Do I keep my block up? And the answer is obviously no, but he goes with yes. So now he's pretending that he's like reading some sort of information or some node stuff while he's just wicking away sweat. Heizi just said something about the Sinister fight. I'm not sure he realizes that we're already on Champion. Let's see. Now Dreamin saying it's not working at all, which is a surprise to everybody watching the stream, because we thought, what do you mean it's not working at all? This has been a dream. And so he's going back to watch the video. Let's fast forward. And then I think Art or somebody was like, hey, dude, we could be here another 35 minutes and Tater's about to stream, so let me give you a lifeline. And he was like, hey, there's literally one thing that you want to not do here, and it's block. And Dreamin's like, okay. And Art was like, just take that thumb, just that left thumb, if you can position it a little further from the screen than it currently is, you should be much better. You should pretty much, it'll turn out the opposite of how it's been so far. So now he's like, okay, I've got this, I think. And then Heizi said, wow, you're really reviving that thing to 100%, huh? Which I think the viewing public hadn't seen yet, so it had to be said, right? Okay. Let's see. So he's still kind of parrying and punching in, I guess, to build power or kind of remember what he just watched. And now he's not blocking, so it's all good, and you just kind of dex, you just kind of don't block, and you just kind of dex. Of course, mostly missing the dexes, but it's okay because you never die with things, so you can miss most of them, and then some of them will land. It's one of those, like, you know, even a broken clock, you know, whatever is right twice a day kind of things. So as long as you'll get 5 in there, you know, and then you can just SP3. But the trick is just don't block, and which is what we saw here. So that, you know, it's one of those things where here's the technique when you're going in with Thing. You go, and then you hit the L3 button. So so that was the thing. That was the thing. It was fun. I'm kind of I'm bummed we didn't get to see the rest of it, because you could just see a man kind of descending into madness. He was all afluster. Well, he was happy before that, and he was like, oh my goodness, it's gonna be so easy, and Contest of Champions, I've got this. And then you just kind of hear the heart rate go up and the heavy breathing. I think at one point I heard you know that noise of like a blood pressure cuff? You could just hear, and then it was like, you know. So I think at that point he went and watched the video, and We're okay. Yeah, I should upload this commentary as a separate vid. I think at some point people are just like, did he drop Vaseline on his phone? Is he using it case side? What's the deal?